Just showing you a little of a match we were planning to show you a little bit later, more of that in a little while, but for the moment let's have a look at the draw for this 2006 edition of the Masters. Two qualifying matches to be played. Messrs Perry and McCulloch play later this evening. Messrs Davis and Bingham are still very much at it at the moment, fighting it out for a place against the 2002 world champion Peter Ebdon. Ronnie O'Sullivan at top there, waiting for Messrs Perry and McCulloch. He is the defending champion, as you briefly saw, having caused John Higgins to surrender here at Wembley 12 months ago. And as we join the live, you can see Steve Davis has just missed a glorious chance to wrap up this ninth frame and take the lead 5-4 in this best of 11 qualifier. It has been a match, it has to be said, in case you've missed our earlier coverage on Eurosport 2, it has been a match very much of hit and miss from both players. Both Steve Davis and Stuart Bingham struggling very much to show the form that has taken them to such success in the earlier part of the season prior to Christmas. Steve Davis getting to the final of the UK and Stuart Bingham scoring a 147 in the qualifiers and coming back to the table to take the black in frame 9 and go within one of victory in this his debut here at Wembley. He's never before played here at the Wembley Conference Centre in the Masters. Steve Davis, his rival, on the other hand, is making a record 25th appearance, a record which will be equalled by Jimmy White when Jimmy comes out to play John Higgins a little later on in the first round proper. But Stuart Bingham now, one way or another, in, let's face it, a slightly below par performance match, is now within a place of getting into the first round proper. Only the second time that these two have ever met. They had a meeting, just one meeting prior to today, and that was in the British Open of 2004. And that one, is this a portent of things to cover? Went to the deciding frame before Stuart beat Steve by 5 frames to 4. Great arena this, as we've said many times, and my co-commentator Mike Hallett has been down there in the thick of it on a couple of occasions, getting all the way through to the final. Mike, a quick word, how does this compare with the atmosphere at the Crucible, a much smaller, more intimate venue, and of course it is the World Championship? How does this invitational event and its much bigger audience compare atmosphere-wise?
Well, it has its own kind of type of atmosphere, but obviously if you're concentrating well, you probably don't hear a lot of it, but you do. It's very difficult not to hear 2,800 people in the final, I can assure you. And it has its own special feeling, of course. More rowdy, I suppose, than the Crucible Theatre. It's based in London, of course, a lot of London players, so it can tend to be quite rowdy.
Yes, how many times have we heard, "Come on, Jimmy," over the years?
Steve Davis, a local boy. Well, both these boys are from Essex, actually. Steve Davis originally from Plumstead, was in Romford, now living in Brentwood, and Stuart Bingham from Basildon. So not too far to travel for these two lads, but just getting back to that, magnificent venue, it really is. Best on the circuit, as we know. These tournaments tend to find their homes. We had the UK at Preston for many years, now at York. The Masters has not always been here. A couple of other venues, one other venue besides this one, but all the players, this is the elite of the elite, the best in the game that were invited to this event. Top 16, 2 wildcards, and all players enjoy playing here. It brings its own pressures. It is a much bigger crowd, there's much more noise during the matches, and we've seen some very highly charged matches over the years. Not been the case here today, I'm afraid. This has been a very low-key affair between these two, and as you saw in that last frame, Steve Davis missing that very easy pink to go 5 for the lead, but now he's got his back to the wall, and can Stuart put the finishing touches to this match, which is, it's coming up to 4.5 hours, I think. 4 hours 20 minutes, that's excluding their interval after 4 frames. But it is a wonderful arena. There used to be flower beds when we had a sponsor before. Of course, we mentioned Benson Hedges used to sponsor it, no longer with us because of the tobacco legislation. They had flower beds on the floor. The first thing is not fall over those when you've come off the shot. You know, you step backwards and it's not happened. But it's such a big arena, Mike. You're waiting for a bus to come by to take you back to your seat. It's so big. Obviously, the Crucible Theatre is confined with 2 tables. It's very, very tight. Once you get to 1 table at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield, it's a great venue, as this is with 1 table.
Steve going for the cross double there. Knows he has to win this one and the next one to stay in the tournament.
Well, neither player has showed the form that they've been in recently. Stuart Bingham has played some terrific matches to get here and made a 1-4-7 in the process. Steve Davis, as we saw in the UK just a couple of weeks ago, the other side of Christmas, lost to Ding Junhui in that final, but played magnificently to get to that final. Neither player has shown that form in the new year. Don't know. It's Christmas pudding still hanging around. I wouldn't have thought so. It's a couple of weeks since Christmas, but 100,000 of this